It is time to begin. Guests and members join in. No need for beach towels or tanning lotion. Just bring your best words with crisp emotion. To all of you who joined the meeting, we extend our warmest greeting. It's summer. Are you melting or just mildly fried? At our meeting, though, please stay cool inside. Whether you are a guest or member, we will ask you to remember your unnecessary actions can be looked at as distractions. Let them stay behind the scene. For a while, turn off the screen. But as soon as you are done, turn the camera back on. Don't forget to mute your phone. Cameras on, please. Smile sets the tone. Now listen to the warning. We are making a recording. If you don't want your face to show, it's no problem. Just let us know. And don't worry, in that case, no one will see your face. Be ready for impromptu speaking. Somebody will do the picking. Dear guests, it might be you asked to comment impromptu. Time to start. You've taken places. What joy to see your smiling faces. It is time to go on. Vice President Sandra, please take the baton.
Thank you very much. And thank you for taking a little bit of time off the beach to attend what's promised to be a very warm and helpful meeting. Today we have a slim, at least we all hope we are in the summer, a slim number of people attending, but we're going to have more fun and we're not going to tell them. We're going to have a good time today. And we have our guest returning today. Lynn, would you like to say just a word of hello? And for those who don't know you, where you live and what you do and how involved in Toastmasters you are.
I'm in New York City. I'm 87 years old. I've lived here all but 2 years of my life. I'm a documentarian who uses my camera to photograph areas of society that have not been looked at before. And I've been doing this for 60 years. I am involved with Toastmaster. I'm visiting right now, but I hope to join. I am passionate about Toastmasters. It has transformed my life because I've learned to listen. I've listened and have been taught by people in the group, and I'm learning, hopefully now, to evaluate better. So I'm here. I'm happy to be with you.
Thank you, Lynn. Now, we are short a few people today. And before I turn the meeting over to Ray, I want to ask, would anyone like to come up with a nice and sunny disposition word of the day, and then maybe another person can count them? Or do you want to bypass the word of the day? Tamara, you're always so funny. What would be a good word for a sunny day? Anyone have a word they'd like to use? Lynn?
I don't know whether this is sunny, but it's thoughtful, and it has to do with light in some ways, reflection.
Perfect. Perfect. Would you mind just jotting down tick marks to how many times we use the word reflections today?
We'll do it.
It's a very versatile word, Lynn. Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Well, I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day, Ray Sweeney, who's going to lead this crowd in a game of Toastmasters on the beach. Ray, take it over.
Thank you, Sandra. Welcome, everyone. Toastmasters and guests. We are going to have a very reflective meeting this evening. Now, I don't mean about the sun reflecting on our faces. I mean, we're going to look back and think about those moments that make us smile, those summertime moments. Now, guys, I don't know what it is, but if you think back, whether you were a young child, in your teenage years, the summer of 66, 69, whichever it was, what was that moment that you reflect back on that just fills you with joy? Have a pause, have a think about it. And I'm going to continue. And while you're thinking about it, I'm going to ask you, before you come on stage to take your roles, just to give us 1 minute reflection of your summertime memories. For me, the moment that stands out the most is, I will set the scene for you. We're on a beach. It's in Marbella, the Costa del Sol in Spain, on the peninsula, Andalusia, across the coast from Morocco, in between two continents. This was sort of late August, middle of September. Where I live, there's a community of neighbours. There's a few houses that are all in a row. And every so often we get together and have barbecues. But this day, everyone decided to go to this particular beach. Now, picture the scene. It's 24 degrees centigrade, which in your money is about 72 Fahrenheit. Really nice temperature. We're all on the sand. Now, you've got young ones as young as 5. You've got 7, 10, 15 teenagers, 20-year-olds. A real mixture all the way up to mid-70s, right? And everybody wants to have fun. Now, there is some alcohol involved. Granted, sangrias are flowing, but everybody wants to play rounders. Now, hands up, raise your hand if you've heard of what rounders is. Yeah, you call it baseball. So it's the same sort of setup, right? We're running round the bases to get home, and instead of using a baseball, we use something smaller like a mini tennis racket or something like that. So all ages can play. I don't know what it was. It was just that moment. This was 2012. And here I am reflecting on it now as the standout moment, as you probably will do as well with your reflections. There's just this moment in time where everybody gels, gets on and has fun. We're running round the bases, we're sweating, we're jumping in the sea. The young ones are falling over the old ones are getting involved, everyone's rolling in the sand. The sun's going down. There's a little hazy mist across the sea that's just splashing everyone. It was a perfect moment. And forever, all the neighbours, that's all they ever talk about for the last 12 years. Everybody, whoever thinks back to that moment, reflects on it with such joy, such heartfelt admiration that it just stands out. So guys, this is the beach. It doesn't have to be a beach. It could be your summertime moment. That really happy place that you go to in your mind. There is another one I have, but I'll share that with you later. I'm going to challenge you to give us your memories as we go through tonight and share a bit of fun, lightheartedness. John, I know you've got some summertime memories. I can see them. I can see the smile already on your face. So let's get started with our meeting this evening. I'm going to open with the functionary roles. I think we have everybody covered. And I think we have the grammarian covered. Thanks to Lynn, we've got that word. Lynn, will you tell us that word again?
Reflection.
Reflection, guys. So we're all going to reflect this evening. And the first role I'm going to introduce, by chance, is back to Sandra Savage as our general evaluator.
Today, I have a team that is going to help look at how well the meeting.
Sorry, Sandra, could you just reflect for us for a minute?
Oh, you want a reflection?
Yeah, come on.
Give me a heads up because.
Big share. Come on, big share.
Yeah, I spent every summer on my aunt and uncle's farm. I was not embarrassed to have cow dung on my boots. I would go out and pick out all the eggs from the coop, We would, of course, slop the pigs, bale the hay, plant seeds. It was busy, busy, busy. And I'm glad my husband can't hear me, because the highlight when I look back to my summer was Lee Har Jr. Oh, he was such a good looking guy. He had muscles. We had so much fun swimming in a big lake and using a swing to fly in. And oh, it was such a blessing. I, of course, wore my sunglasses though, because I didn't want him to see my eyes, and he would only get a reflection of his eyes when he looked at me, but I could see he was doing it. And I loved those summers. I didn't like being messy, but you know, in hindsight, it was just part of the fun. And I remember those summers very fondly. Thank you, John. Back to you, Ray. Oh, general evaluator. All right. I'm going to be the general evaluator today. I got so discombobulated because of John and being so silly. And I have a team of people who are going to help me. First of all, let's acknowledge that Patrick is our Zoom master today. And I want to thank you for jumping into such an important role as a new member. And he will be pinning the speakers, and during the evaluation, during the evaluation, do the speaker and the evaluator next together. And then we also have our word of the day, thanks to Lynn, and she'll be counting just in general. We'll make it easy on you, how many times the word reflection is used. And then we have Venice. Venice is going to be our timer, and she will flash for us the green, yellow, and red as the speeches go on. All of the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. Snap evaluations are a 2-minute answer and a 1-minute snap evaluation. And to make your life easy, Venice, you can just type the times for everybody in the chat and not have to do a verbal report at the end, unless you want to. Then we also have today with us a couple of evaluators, which I'll let Ray introduce. And I will then conclude before the end of the meeting a general impression and reflect back on how all of you did today. And Lynn, that's a great word. It's going to be easy for us to use. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sandra, let me just track back a bit there. Let's go for our reflections. And we didn't get a chance to ask Lynn. And Lynn, if you're just still with us.
I am. I just had to pull the shade down a little bit. It was too bright.
I'm just going to ask you if we can have your reflection, your memory, your summer moment, if you'd share that with us.
Okay, this is going back umpteen years. When I was little, very little, my aunt ran the camp that I was at. And my cousin, who was a boy who was at the boys' camp, and I stayed after camp. And we were in a bunk, and there were bats, and we hid under the covers. And when we went to the bathroom, we were afraid of the spiders. But what we did have is we went with my aunt. This was in the Catskills, and we would go up in it wasn't the mountains, but it was a wooded area. And we would go and we would pick blueberries or blackberries, and we would get corn. And we would bring back the fresh corn. They were baby corn to the kitchen. It was a camp for about 180 kids, and we were alone in the kitchen. And we would put the corn, and we would eat 12 corn. And it's funny, as you were talking, you know, your memory, I thought, what do I remember of something that when I was very young? And that was an unusual, although we always, my cousin and I always stayed after camp, and we were the only ones there. But they were very memorable moments. That's my memory. That's my
Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you so much. Now, still backtracking, because we didn't. Patrick, if you're still in the room, can we get a recollection and a summer memory from yourself?
Well, thank you, Ray. I would be delighted to share that. You asked us a little bit early to think about this, so I've had some time to think about something, although I didn't need it because the first thing that popped into my mind was going to the beach with my family. It took a little bit of a drive, even as youngish as I was at that time, a wee lad, knee-high to a grasshopper, as some might say. To get there, when I was bubbling with enthusiasm and excitement about going there, part of what I loved about that was going right to where the the sand is and the ocean, just the waves come up, like right at that border. And there was, I don't even know what they're called to this day. There was little creatures there, like, and if you scooped your hands into the sand, and the sand would fall away with the water, and they would be there, and they would just wiggle around, and I was just so fascinated by that. And then, of course, I would put them back, and they would burrow back under the sand, and then I would do that, and that was part of the fun of that for me. So that would be my favorite summer memory. Thank you for asking. Return control to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Superb. Thank you so much, Patrick. And Venice, can I ask you, Venice, are you with us? Maybe you can come on the camera. If not, without camera, your summer memories.
Oh, Ray. As one of our speaker was sharing about corn, I remember that we used to take corns, roasted corn, and make a game. And so we as children would sit down with our own corn, and it so happened that the best gamer would end up eating someone else's corn. So the game is called Sift Shares, how many men on board? And so if you get your number wrong, then you will take 5 grains of corn or 10 grains of corn. So you need to be very mindful to get it correct and get it right. So that's my reflection on summer moments when we have lots of corn and mangoes and marbles and things. It was a blissful moment for me growing up. Thank you. I want
Thank
to thank Sandra for. Is it okay to introduce my role at the moment?
Yes, sure. No, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm on my way, so I'm in transit, and I would like to show you how I will show the cards. It's very innovative, but it's okay. I am your timekeeper, and I'll be keeping time today. And so when it comes to the minimum time, then I'll be showing you my green container here. So you can see that. When it comes to the next time, which is half mark, then I'll show you the yellow marker here. When it comes to your maximum time, I'll show you the pink, red. Assume it is red marker here. So if everyone can see this, I'll be your timer for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Venice, and thank you for that innovative role. As we move forward, welcome, Mary. I see Mary's arrived. Don't worry, Mary, we've got the grammarian role covered. The word of the day today is reflections. And because we have a summer meeting, we're asking people to share their reflections. Would you like to quickly come on stage and share a summer reflection that you hold dearly for 1 minute? Mary, if that's possible. If not, we're going to move on and we'll catch up with you later. Okay, now we get to that part of the meeting where the speeches, the prepared speeches. So this is where we really spend time reflecting, learning, embracing change. And to do that today is tomorrow. But tomorrow, before you focus on your speech, let's just hear from you and your favorite memories.
Frankly speaking, summer is not my favorite season. My favorite season is autumn. To me, summer associates with sweltering heat, cruel sun, itching skin, and snakes. So the only thing which really brings consolation in summer is shady trees and the opportunity to swim anywhere. the sea, a lake, a swimming pool, even a little private swimming pool, which I have in my garden, which I'm using 3 times a day and enjoying it tremendously. And that has been since my childhood, and even now what I'm enjoying in this way.
Superb. Thank you. Let me just ask your evaluator, John Graham, to come to the stage to give us your objectives this evening. Before you do that, John, a quick reflection from yourself.
Sure, I'd love to give a little reflection. I want you all to close your eyes for a second and visualize you're on a 1917 Hershaw catch. It's all wood, block and tackle, and we're on our way to Catalina. Can you experience the rolling motion of the waves? Can you hear that back and forth? Now I want you to open your eyes and look out at the ocean. Beautiful blue ocean and dolphins in front of the boat. That would be my reflection. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you for that, John. And the objectives for your speaker, if you would be so kind.
Yeah, she actually has a little bit of a complex speech here. She's doing Innovative Planning Level 4, which is an elective about managing difficult audiences. And I think you all know what this means. We need volunteers to disrupt her. So I'll take one. Who would be a second disruptor? Would anybody else volunteer?
It comes naturally to me. I won't even have to work at it.
And John White will be number 3.
Happy to be me.
A disruptor at heart. And then number 4, who would like to be our 4th disruptor? Okay, Sandra, great. Okay, so having said that, her speech is supposed to be 5 to 7, but it may come out longer due to the disruption. So it's 10 to 15 is what's planned. And outside of that, you didn't give me a lot of descriptions, but her speech is called An Ace Up Your Sleeve. So with that, I'll turn it back to our speaker, Tamara.
I'll kick things off with questions for you, but don't shout the answers or call out a clue. Just ponder in silence. Take your time, sit back, relax. The floor is mine.
Excuse me, what was going on over there?
Don't shout, don't pout, don't interrupt. You may, if you wish,
Excuse me,
with laughter
what did you want to
erupt.
do? Oh, okay, yeah.
Please,
okay.
lend me your ears and give me a chance. With this being said, I'm starting at once. Don't you agree that a sense of humor is part of the art of leadership, of getting along with people,
Excuse me, my neighbor
of
was
getting
saying something.
things done?
I heard something there.
Don't you agree that the next best thing to solving a problem is finding some humor in it? Don't you agree that the best ace up your sleeve is something that will make your audience laugh?
I thought
If
something
you
said
don't think
silent.
so, listen to my story, and maybe then you will get around to it. Many years ago, when I worked as an English teacher in Kiev, I was asked to interpret for an important guest, a Korean educator who was delivering a lecture in front of a large audience of Ukrainian teachers. He spoke English with a heavy Oriental accent, and to interpret for him was pretty stressful. But I was going to do my
Still
best.
using Oriental?
Obviously,
Right,
the Korean guest had never been a member of a Toastmasters club. He didn't start warming the audience up, didn't involve any humor, didn't try to make people feel friendlier and more relaxed. He was just reading from his papers.
Could have been he was nervous. I
Soon,
mean, where's the empathy?
some people started getting bored and tired, started yawning and lowering their heads to see the screens of their cell phones. I noticed it, and the guest noticed it too. It turned out, however, that for such a situation, he did have an ace up his sleeve. All of a sudden, he said with a smile, "Falling asleep, huh? May I wake you up? I tell one Korean joke. She translates well. If you like it, you smile quickly, laugh. Eh?" I felt nervous. I was not sure I would get a Korean joke myself, because Oriental humor is very specific. What if they don't laugh and the guest feels embarrassed? I thought. What if the joke is dull or silly? I had no time to think. People waited for me to translate the words of the guest. What would you do to lessen the risk of a failure? I started desperately looking for an ace up my sleeve. Within a second, a saving decision crossed my mind. I recalled a proverb, "Honesty is the best policy," and decided to apply it to the situation. Slightly editing the words of the guest, I addressed the audience. "Colleagues, our respected guest is now going to tell a joke. He expects you to laugh at it. I'm not sure if the joke will seem funny to us, Ukrainian teachers. So please cooperate and laugh at whatever I say." Hearing my unexpected improvisation, the audience perked up and started laughing. The Korean guest had mixed feelings. On the one hand, he was glad that the people started reacting. On the other hand, he wondered, why are they laughing? I haven't started my joke yet. Anyway, encouraged by the chance to share the joke, by the change of the general atmosphere, he started telling his plain joke. I realized at once that the meaning of it wouldn't cause laughter in our audience.
What's the punchline?
I didn't even bother to
didn't hear that.
translate the
What's
details.
the punchline?
I just smiled
What's the
and
setup?
complimented the
What's the
public,
what?
repeating
The
in
setup.
Ukrainian, "Keep
Setup.
laughing,
Oh,
pretend it's funny, louder,
yeah.
help me out. My professional reputation is at stake." The listeners found this part of the show hilarious and were laughing their heads off. The guest was happy. He wanted to hear laughter, and he wasn't disappointed. The rest of the speech was received with genuine interest. The speaker never learned the real reason people were roaring with laughter at his little innocent joke, and ascribed the success to my charisma as an interpreter. I felt elated. Do you agree now that every time we are able to find humor in a difficult situation, we win? Conclusion: in challenging circumstances, let's always look for an opportunity to laugh, and we will have a life full of humorous memories. Tempting, isn't it? Back to you.
Thank you so much, Tamara. How funny was that? Who got it at the beginning? I thought when John started talking, I thought, what's going on? Brilliant. Well done. Can we have a minute on the clock, please, Venice, to gather our thoughts and send Tamara any feedback in the chat that you would like to give her? I see we have a couple of people that have joined us as well while we're doing that. We have Marilyn. Marilyn, welcome to the club. Are you a guest?
Yes.
Oh, introduce yourself, please. We'd love to hear from you.
My name is Marilyn Yakoda, and I'm a guest of Mary Pryor.
Super. You're very welcome. And where are you calling in from?
West Los Angeles, in
Oh,
Palms.
superb. Are you a Toastmaster?
No, I'm not.
Oh, it's your first time coming on
Yes,
as a
it is.
guest? Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy. Feel free to turn on your camera if you'd like to. If not,
Thank you.
listen away. And if you just want to pop yourself on mute, and then it saves any overlaps on the sound.
Okay.
We also have iPhone 4. A new dimension in technology. iPhone 4. Can you please reveal yourself?
This is Marjorie, an iPhone 4, but I cannot set my camera. I don't know why. I'm trying to solve that little issue for me, not for the Zoom. So,
Perfect. Thanks, Marjorie. Great to see you back again. Hopefully you can get your camera on.
I don't know how to do that from the cell phone. That's the problem.
Okay, great. Superb. If you pop yourself on mute as well. And for your benefit and for Marilyn's benefit, the theme today is summertime. And we're asking people to have a little reflection about their moments of summer that they really remember. And I might come back to you a bit later to see if you've got one for me. Now, moving on. Time up. Thank you very much. Our second speaker this morning, this evening, this afternoon is going to be Michael Schaefer. And to introduce his objectives of his speech, hand it over to John White. Before I do that, John, will you share summertime reflection that hits home with you?
Gladly. It was a pivotal time in my life. I again was fighting and resisting a major change in my life. I had gone from a man who had met a woman. We fell passionately in love. We had gone from the heat, the fire, the excitement of being in my early 30s and making money and being the man that I was God created to be. And then I got married and had kids, and I fell into the domestic life, which I fought against. But eventually accepted it, and it was because of these damn kids. I never thought I had that father thinghood in me. I was so good at it. My wife actually said, John, go ahead and take the kids to the beach. And I said, you're coming? No, just me with the kids, a 3 and 4-year-old. We're out at the beach, and my daughter is playing on the jetty, and she's kicking the water, and off flies her sandals. Now, mom indulged the kids in all the outfits, and I knew how much that sandal was, and I knew what mom's reaction would be if I came back without the sandal. I flew through the water like David Hasselhoff or whatever that guy was. I retrieved the sandal. I came out. And there was applause from the general beach, but particularly my daughter. Oh, Dad, you're my hero. She threw herself into my arms. I still feel that embrace. I was Superman. It was so wonderful. Kids move on moment by moment. Dads like to reflect and enjoy and savor and extend the moment. So I raised it again with my daughter later at the beach. Oh, honey, Dad was such a great dad when he said that this, that, and the other. I thought I could relive the experience. And she said, well, Dad, I needed you to be safe because besides, how were Austin and I going to get home to our house? So I went from Superman to a Uber driver all in an afternoon, but it was a wonderful experience. I'm evaluating Michael, and as I reflect on Michael, one of the things I love about him as a speaker is it's not about him. It's about his audience and what he's sharing with his audience. So what he wants us to look at is what can he do to make the speech more enjoyable for us? It's not him, it's us. So how does it become more enjoyable? Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, John. And before we take Michael to the stage, we're going to ask him to reflect back on those favorite moments of recollection for the summer. Michael?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. What's a great thing, I keyed on your 68 or 69. I started going through my files and I've got one memory. Beaches are lovely, but at the bottom of the staircase of the apartment I lived in San Francisco, just moments away from the bus rides I would take daily through the Haight-Ashbury and looking at all those fabulous people living in the park with such long hair, not understanding any of it yet. What I would do is on my own, maybe some of the Americans here remember a Tonka toy commercial where an elephant stepped on one of the dump trucks. I had that dump truck. It was a Christmas gift, one of my favorites of all time. And here at the bottom of this apartment building where I lived was a very, very steep concrete driveway all the way to the back of the building. And I would sit on that dump truck multiple times in the summer sun and fly down that hill, both feet stuck out and waiting to find some opportunity to plant them and stop myself before I crashed into the back fence. And I would do that over and over, and that was my summer of love.
That sounds like you had a lot of fun there, Michael. So you take a moment, let me introduce you. So your speech this evening is called Bridal Falls. Michael Schaefer, Bridal Falls, Michael Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and thank you for the opportunity to think about this theme a little bit. Every summer has a story, and I thought about this summer, and I was thinking it's been a little busy, it's been a little humdrum, and then I recalled, I said, oh yeah, I got married on the 13th of this month. So maybe that's the one I could share about today. The top 3 moments of that day that I got married. First of all, it was in a beautiful restaurant in Corona del Mar, very close to Newport, very summery. And my top favorite moment was when my bride and my wife to be turned at the top of the aisle and started to approach me, and I saw her face. And these tears just popped into my eyes immediately, seeing how beautiful she was, how happy she seemed to see me, which was a nice thing, a thing that I get to have pretty much every day. The second most amazing thing that impressed me that day were all the toasts that were so full of love. But what I didn't know, I'll tell you about the third later, the third best moment. What I didn't know was that something terrible had just happened right before the moment I saw Jeanette turn the corner and look at me and see me. She had fallen. She had fallen in a very old restaurant, 60 years old, years before it had been a house of ill repute. So it had been renovated into this charming collection of 3 pubs in one big restaurant, but the floors were bare wood and worn and old, and her shoes were brand new. And so, unbeknownst to her, she thought she was on safe territory until she took one wrong step. One foot went all the way up and out, and she went down on her hip and her shoulder. We're not young. That's a bad situation. And the pain, apparently, I'm finding out from all the women that were around her at the time, was very strong. I wouldn't say excruciating. I don't know. I wasn't there. I was just waiting in the hot sun going, what's taking so long? But she'd fallen and it hurt so much she started crying from the pain. And then she realized, oh my gosh, my makeup. And then she started to hyperventilate a little bit. And the more she did that, the more panic she felt. And more, she would start to say things like, this is all secondhand now, of course. She would say, oh my gosh, I've ruined my wedding. You know, she's delayed it. She's all messy, she thinks. And she's just kind of gone emotionally. She's just in a place. And that's when her daughter, Sophia, came to our rescue. Many times she has, like when she was swiping, when she was looking for a new person to date, and I was one of 5 out of 100 that her daughter found and said, try this guy. So are eternally grateful to her. But she immediately jumped right in front of her own mother and she kind of yelled at her. She said, "Mom, look!" And it startled Jeanette. And she said, "These are birthday candles. Blow them out." And Jeanette looked puzzled, but she just kind of followed orders. She was so stern, it was surprising. So she took a little blow, and Sophia put one candle down. And then she said, "Blow it again." She did it again. And then she did 5 little blows to blow out all the candles. And then Sophia said, "Nope, they're trick birthday candles. Blow them out again. Blow harder." And she blew them harder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And she was breathing deeper and deeper. And I'm hearing this story secondhand. I'm going, oh my gosh. And finally, all 5 candles had gone down for the second time. And Sophia said, "Now blow out this one." And she laughed when she saw the middle finger. She's like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? And as soon as she laughed, she calmed down. She took a breath. She went to the restroom. She looked at her face. She didn't have much makeup on, so she was okay that way. But then she took her shoes and saw a tile trim halfway up the wall that had a little texture in it, like a Spanish tile. And she put her foot up and started scraping on the wall to roughen up the soles of her shoes. And she's telling me this afterwards. I'm like, "You're on one foot in the bridal gown?" Okay, that's all right. This is what she does sometimes. She came back. She turned the corner, pinched her cheeks, and then I saw her, and she looked completely like a bride you would expect to look like. Smile on her face. She walked down, and we had this beautiful ceremony and these gorgeous toasts, the best toasts. They were so good from her kids and my niece and nephew that I was stumped for my own speech, and I just sat there just grateful. And the best thing, the third best thing I should say about this whole afternoon was the surprise that Jeanette gave me. Years ago, uh, during another planning of another wedding of mine, I had said, wouldn't it be nice to have bagpipes? Something about bagpipes just called to me. And at that time, that person said, "Nope, no way." So I was like, okay, no bagpipes. Well, Jeanette surprised me with bagpipes on the exit from our ceremony. And it was a fabulous, fabulous surprise. And I never knew that she'd fallen until afterwards. And that was my summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. What an exciting summer it was. A round of applause there on screen. Venice, our timer, can you give us 60 seconds on the clock? Anybody who'd like to give Michael some feedback, do so in the chat or send him a private message, whichever way you like to give him some feedback. We have a minute for that. And then, Venice, I'm going to ask you for a timer's report, but I'm not sure how you're going to be able to do that in the car. If you can, fantastic. If not, we'll move on.
Ray, may I propose that we raise a toast
Sure.
to the wedding? Michael is now happily married. Congratulations and great story, great memories.
There you go. Thank you, Sandra. Just in preparation for our table topics, David, I know you're listening. I would like, if you can, because of the amount of time that we have, if you could call on speakers that haven't spoken already this evening. Now, I'm not sure if you're getting to view the screen. If you're not, I'm going to give you a hand, and I'm going to tell you that that would be Lynn, Marjorie, Marilyn, and Mary. Lynn, Marilyn, Marjorie, and Mary. And that sounds like a bit of a tongue twister. But I hope you can hear me, David, and everything is okay your end.
And Gazelle, I can
Sorry, my apologies. Gisela as well.
yes, thank you.
How can I forget Gisela in Belgium, Europe? I'm in Spain. How did I forget that? Time-wise, I think we're doing okay, and we seem to have lost our timer on screen, Venice. So we will move on from our timer report. It's coming back in now. Maybe she's just hit a traffic light. Venice, are you with us?
I did hit a traffic light. Good afternoon. So you would like to get the timing information. Tamara has really been in time. I thought that her timing was 5 to 7 minutes, so she managed it within 7 minutes and 9 seconds. And Michael has the same time, and he did it with 5 minutes and 9 seconds. But he had more that he could have said, more time to say more. But yes, that's what we have at the moment.
Well, thank you so much, Venice. On the road as well. Hats off to you. David, if I can call you to the stage, are you ready for that table topic?
Not quite. I've got Lynn and Marjorie to avoid in the best sense. After that,
no, these are the people you want to call to the stage. So I want you to, if you can call
yes,
Marjorie,
I've got
Marilyn,
down. It's
Mary,
I shan't
Gisela,
tell you when.
And I'll hand it over to you. You want to share a little summer reflection with us as well?
Okay, well, I'm David Thompson, and this is me and my father in Finland. How many of you have been to Finland in the heart of their short summer? Not many of you. Well, he was about half my age, and I was about a quarter of his age, and we were there for a short Finnish summer that doesn't last very long. And we were in a summer cottage, a cabin really, and it wasn't with the sea raging at the top of the hill. It was in a little lake, and we were both young, and we decided what we needed to do was to run into the lake. So, like the best of men, we stripped off completely and we ran into the lake and turned round and ran back completely stark naked. What we didn't know was that my youngest and my middle sister both had their cameras with you. Such modern items these days. Those days, they had both taken pictures of us, their father and their brother, stark naked, and they both still have those photographs, and they threatened to reveal them one day when they're not as sensible as they are today. So never ask me to run naked again into a Finnish lake. I shall never do it again. Thank you very much. Right, now on to what's called table topics. For those of you who are new to table topics, or indeed from another club, yes, there are other clubs which dally with table topics. This is an unusual club, and it has a special way of doing them. These are essentially, unless you've been told not to, listen very, very carefully, because your name might be called at any point, so you need to listen carefully. Listening carefully is the most important skill we learn. So, one or two people may be omitted. I might ask myself twice to speak up. Are you listening carefully? Marilyn Mariari, I think you are rather new to this, so I shan't ask you to join in. But for everyone else, be listening and ready to speak at any time.
Hi, David. Let me just jump in there for you. Marjorie is an experienced Toastmaster. Marilyn is new. Marilyn, would you like come on screen and let me know if you'd like a table topic, and if you would, we'll give you one. Marjorie and Gisela as well as Lynn. Thanks, David.
I love doing.
Okay. Right.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Well, listen carefully. It could be your turn. So my first question is, how would you like to spend your ideal day? How would you like to spend your ideal day? And that question is for Gisela, please. Gisela, how would you like to spend your ideal day? 1 minute.
My ideal day starts around 6 o'clock in the morning when I get up with a strong cup of coffee and my meditation. And then I do my morning meditation and reflection for about 20 minutes, transcendental meditation. That puts me in the right frame of mind. Afterwards, I go and feed the German Shepherd, Winston, the cats, and then I put on my Wellington boots daily, and I go out to put the ponies, the donkeys, and the horses in different prairies. When that's done, I come back home, and then it's time to either do a little bit of studying, reading, or attend a course. By lunchtime, I try to eat some very good organic food without meat. You know, I'm a vegetarian. And 3 times a week, I also go to my physiotherapist, which helps my left hand, which is not functional for the moment. And it really takes me out of my mind because I have to walk 5 kilometers to the station and 5 kilometers coming back. So I'm connected to nature. In the afternoon, I spend time with books that I like to read. I noticed that I have over 4,000 books at home, and I think I have to ask some friends to help me to get them all sorted out and found in the library. In the evenings, I enjoy listening to music. It could be everything. It could be as well opera. It could be
Gisela, that's fine. Thank you very much. Right.
Thank you.
I wonder what John White thinks of that. John White, to speak, please.
I thought it was a lovely explanation of the day. I was waiting for sort of the emotional connection and the meaning of it. It seemed like a lovely day, and I'm at the point in my life where just a average day can be wonderful. I was looking for a little more oomph to it, but at the end, you spoke as to the importance of it and why you did it and how rich that experience was. So, as usual, the patient man was rewarding, Gazella. In total, it was a great response. I really don't have any answers. If you wanted to make it a little more powerful, a little more vocal variety, not that you had to sell it. It was subtle and had a build and ultimately was satisfying. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, John. The next question, listen carefully, everyone. What are the primary qualities you admire in other people? What are the primary qualities you admire in other people? And that, please, is for Lynn Gilbert. What are the primary qualities you admire in other people? Hello, Lynn.
You're on mute, Lynn. That's it.
Okay. The primary qualities that I admire in people is something that I think about when I meet and I talk with people. I think, what are the characteristics that they reveal? One of the things that I admire is integrity, and somebody that is grounded and somebody that is able to connect so that they both can speak to you and they also listen. And they're honest about what they have to say. It's not about, making fluff or flattering you. And also, I'll give you an example about someone that I was stunned when I heard her, because it encapsulates how somebody can live their life with integrity. This is a young girl that is in my Toastmaster. She speaks with grace and dignity, and she was working for a foundation for raising money, and she apparently had done very well, and she got fired. So, and she's a girl of very modest means. She comes from Africa, and they lived in a village where they didn't even have electricity. And her parents work in a hotel in, labor intensive, and she does not have a lot. Her attitude was she was told that somebody was going to take her place and that she would have to train them. What she did was to thank all the people in the office that she worked with of how she enjoyed working with them, and even thank the person who had fired, the two people who had fired her. And I was stupefied because I would have been mad as hell. I would have wanted to find out why. Her attitude was, I'm going to move on and live my life as best I can. And she has gotten she's going to graduate school. She didn't look back, she's looking forward. That encapsulates qualities of something that I admire in people.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Now let's stop thinking about weddings. Let's invite Michael, please. Michael, what did you make of that?
Oh, Lynn, here I go, just shining your apple. I know you don't like that, but I'm going to say that I totally agreed with you about honesty, and you immediately had my attention with your crisp, no nonsense delivery. One of the things I loved about New Yorkers, having been there myself for 29 years, but I'm back in California. I'm sunshiny. And the only thing I would offer to say as feedback is that the example was beautiful. And using an example in table topics shows terrific skill. I think within the example, we could have found a bit of a mini story structure, tighten it up just a little bit, and get me to the crisis point when she shakes her hands. Like the story I heard of a scientist who listened to a lecture by a scientist with new findings that obliterated his life's work, got up, went to the stage, shook his hand, and said thank you. It can be that tight. Thank you.
Great
Thank you very
criticism.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, let's go on to another one. Listen carefully. It is, what is the best advice you have ever been given? What is the best advice you have ever been given? And that's for Patrick, please. Patrick, what is the best advice you have ever been given? Please welcome Patrick.
Pardon me. Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, for that question. I wish I had more time for reflection on that, because there could be any number of things. Gosh, unfortunately, nothing is out of all of those things, and nothing is jumping out at me saying, me, talk about me. So I'm really unsure what the answer to that question is at the moment. I've been around long enough, if you will, not my first time around the block, as they say. So I've probably had lots of advice that, upon reflection, turned out to be good advice that at the time I may just not have given enough due to, as far as thinking about, I should do what this person is asking me to do, especially if I've reached out and asked for advice. I personally feel that if someone asks someone for advice, then they should be open to doing what that person is sharing with them, because that person is giving of themselves and taking of their time to suggest, a course of action in regards to whatever the topic is. that's kind of it in a nutshell. I don't have a specific example. I'm sure that, as with many things, as soon as I'm done on the call today, something is just going to pop up into my brain. It'll be too late by then, unless we reconvene just for that, which would be kind of a little much. So I'm going to go and do some more reflection on this. And until then, turn it back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Well, the person to give you some time for reflection while he shares his ideas and feedback is John Graham, please. Please welcome John Graham.
Well, thank you there, David. Patrick, I like your honesty. You're very honest. When you get caught up with a question and don't know exactly how to respond, you tell us now. And that's an important kind of engendering quality. It brings you closer to us. It would have been good for us to hear what your initial thought was right away. And I don't know what that was, but so I'm in a little bit of a loss too. I can't really respond either. But thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, John. Okay, listen carefully to the next question. Here it comes. What is your biggest regret in life? What is your biggest regret in life? And that's for Marilyn, please. Marilyn, a minute on what is your biggest regret in life?
Oh dear. Wow, so many regrets, actually. Let's see. I'm a little confused still as to the direction my life has taken, which way I should have gone. I was headed for community college, and my brother and his wife advised that I go to UCLA. So I went to UCLA, and you'd think, well, that's a great decision. But I don't know what would have happened if I would have stayed home with my parents and, continued my life there. So, yeah, I was married when I was young. I'm no longer married, so that's a regret. And yet, um, I still don't know that that was the wrong decision to get a divorce. So I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused. This is my first time, and I, regret for me is like I've made a lot of decisions that were painful decisions. And yet I can't say that I would have been better off had I made different decisions.
Well, thank you very much, Marilyn. I think you've made the best decision to come here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I wonder what Tamara Evans thought of that, please.
Thanks, David. If we can finish on that one.
Okay, can we just hear Tamara's feedback, please?
Absolutely, and we finish on that one. Thank you, Tamara. Yes, please.
An interesting question to give reflection to. And of course, it's not easy to try to think what we regret in life. The previous question about advice, what comes to mind, what advice I would like to hear in the speech was a quote. Don't cry because something is over. Smile because it happened in your life. It helps when things do not go as we planned. But if we learn to be grateful, to find the moments which taught us lessons, then everything we think about will be regarded as a source of experience, knowledge, and the opportunity to do better next time. So I'm impressed by the sincerity with which the answer was given, and this would be my advice for the future. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Tamara. And back to you then, Ray.
Thank you so much. Round of applause there for David. Excellent table topics, well conducted. We didn't manage to just squeeze in a couple of speakers there. So I'm going to ask you, Marjorie and Mary, I'm going to ask you both the same question. Okay, 1 minute, just share a favorite summertime reflection. So Mary, I'm going to ask you first, share a favorite summertime reflection for 1 minute.
Thank you for that opportunity and sharing a reflection that I really think of even till this day is the summertime, the holiday 4th of July. 4th of July, our family used to get together, and the entire family. And I come from a family of 7 children. And we now live all over the country. But on 4th of July, we would get together and have a huge picnic. And we would go to different parks. So it would never be the same park. And my favorite park to go to for our 4th of July picnic was in Pennsylvania. I was born and reared in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And this particular park was Fairmount Park. And at Fairmount Park, the scenery and the acres of land was just humongous. I can't tell you how many acres. And we would play all kinds of games. And my favorite was, of course, a race. And I would race against my brothers and one brother-in-law, and I would be the only female racing against them. And consequently, one time, just one time, I won the race. And I was just so delighted that I could beat my brothers and my brother-in-law. And my brothers, all in high school, were on the track team. So I was just elated, and I will never forget that 4th of July picnic. Thank you, Madam Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing that reflection. Marjorie, if I can ask you. I think we're sound-wise.
Oh, was I muted?
No, Mary, you can go on mute, and Marjorie's having a technical problem with her sound, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you now. That's it. Perfect.
Okay.
Mary, that's
I think the headsets didn't work, but it's okay. I've been in United States for 25 years, and learning the difference between one season and the other has given me the opportunity to appreciate much more the summertime. I love it. We have had here in Indianapolis the hottest summer that I have ever remembered. And I had this past week an accident, and I'm working from home, sitting in my back porch. I'm working, sitting here, I'm working, and I'm sweating. And that is something that I can relate to my childhood in Venezuela. And the summertime was vacation from the school. And my father and mother, they would take us to other states to visit our cousins, to be with all the aunts and uncles. And it was a beautiful reunion. And of course, we as a children, we were doing many things outside, outdoors. And I remember one time I wasn't allowed to use a bike. My father didn't like for us to ride bikes, and I did. I rode a bike and I paid the price. I fell down and scraped all my knees, all my elbows, and I didn't know how to go back to the house and let them know. But the beautiful thing about that was that all my cousins, they were so attentive and they were trying to cover things up for me, but now they couldn't. They couldn't. My mom and dad, they figured it out. So what I have about that, about the summers, is the unity with my cousins, and I miss that right now. I don't get to see them that often. I have seen some of them 2 years ago in Orlando, and it's something that I really miss. I would love to see all my family. The last time I saw a lot of them, it was in 2012, August 2012. And I think we had a reunion with more than 100 people in my family. We went to one city and we enjoyed the family time. Back to you.
Thank you, Marjorie. What a reflection. And the wind chimes just made it perfect in the background.
Oh, thank you.
Let's hand it over now to our general evaluator, who's going to keep us on track, the one and only Sandra Savage.
Thank you. Well, unfortunately, Venice was unable to continue as timer. I took over for the table topics, and I'm just going to say everybody did a great job and leave it at that. We're on time in our meeting. And so now I'd like to go on, and I don't want to collect the word of the day yet because we have a few more presentations that we're going to hear. And the first one will be from John Graham, evaluating our first speaker, Tamara. And Patrick, if you could pin both John and Tamara. So John, take it away.
Tamara, I thought the speech was great, but that's not what this is about. The project really was to deal with disruptions. Now, one of the things I think happened here that was, I don't know whether my disruptions really got through. I kept seeing my mute button go on and off. And Patrick, I think you were a little confused about what we were supposed to be doing during this speech. And I really only heard myself and John White as disruptors. And I think you used the same technique in both cases. You tried to stay very professional and did not get distracted, which is a valid way to deal with disruptions. But I would have liked to have heard you acknowledge the disruptions and then see if you could diffuse them somehow. I think that's also part of this project. So, and Dennis and Sandra, I don't know if you all chimed in with disruptions or not. Okay, I didn't hear them. I don't know if they got they got mitigated, but Patrick, you were a good mitigator. So about the speech, first of all, you did do some good things with voice variability. I liked your Oriental, what accent and things like that that you came through with. And these are more traditional evaluations because and I'll talk a little bit more about the disruptions as we go on. But your clarity is very good, vocal variety is good. Your eyes were very good. I like the fact that you move in to the screen and you let us see you back and forth. Maybe you don't have to do that quite so much, but I like it when you did that. You actually brought a smile to my face when you did the Oriental accent and things like that, and those are good. Gestures are good. Were good. Your awareness is good. Your speaking type was humorous. That was good, and you did. Let's see, very good with very professional. You were very professional in the way you did things. Like I said, the only critique I would have had was if you could have, and this is part of our problem. If we didn't organize this early enough, we should have organized our disruptions before you started speaking. It should have been something we all had planned, and we could have done a better job with giving you disruptions to react to and different kinds of disruptions. But I thought you stayed very professional, and were not distracted by our disruptions. So thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I will take it over, and let's now hear from the team of Michael and John. John, you are evaluating Michael's speech today.
I am. It's always a pleasure. Michael's such an accomplished storyteller and a bright man, and he's grounded and really there when he's telling the story. He has a modest approach. If I had his skills, I would be boastful and bragging and bring attention to myself. He always uses gifts in service of the story, and it's about the audience. And I like that. There's sort of an economy to it. I love his titles. Bridal Falls, not My Bride Fell, Bridal Falls. So part of my mind's in Yosemite, part of my mind's on what's he going, so there's always curiosity as to what this kid has. And then it's three things. He gives us two, and then he dangles the third. So even though he's a compelling storyteller, he adds to it. I thought it was great. The highlight, the magic was Jeanette and Sophie and that moment and how you set up the stage for what Jeanette had gone through, making it more amazing as to what you would deliver later on. I don't know if you've practiced this before. At the beginning, you talked about how you were busy in a humdrum summer, and I got married too, and you were completely straight faced. And I don't know if that was intended to be so. If it was, I think you wanted to laugh afterwards to say, like, oh, it was just another summer. The way you delivered, I thought, oh, this guy does have commitment issues. It takes one to know one. But I was a little confused about how that point was delivered. I think you also said later on we were in safe territory. I don't know if that was supposed to be safe grounds. That a thing or two just stuck in my ear. I want to talk about the third act. And it's hard to find the magic to follow or match the magic of Jeanette and Sophie, but the gift that Sophie provided, where she in that moment was sort of the mother to the daughter who needed it in that moment. And you talked about how a prior, someone you proposed to had said no to a bagpipe. Michael, do you know what a generous offering that was by your bride? I've been divorced before. Whenever I take my current lady to a hotel or something, it's like, have you been here before? Like nothing that I can evoke about past relationships. She allows a bagpipe. And yours was the energy at then was I was forced to tell what I did over the summer. I'm sixth grade, and that's what I did, teacher. Am I done? It was such an anticlimactic, I'm exaggerating, but it really was, and that was it. Now I know it's hard to follow that the daughter mother scene, but a bagpipe? How generous. Or Sophie, what she had provided in that day, she's provided throughout the years. We walked down that aisle because of her. I was marrying Jeanette and the family. I mean, some sort of appreciation and gratitude. I felt it was a little bit of, I'm done. And we know, Michael, you're only beginning. So end it with a smile and end it with a level of appreciation for your spouse. That's what I would have done, said the twice divorced man. Thank you.
Wow, John, you came in exactly at 3.5 minutes. So everybody did great on their timing. I'd like to reflect now on the meeting as a whole. And one thing I did put into the chat a few times, and I hope you all received it, was how to write a speech introduction. If I had one wish for this club, is that we soon provide our information on our speech and the project, the path, all that information, and a nice introduction to your evaluator and to the Toastmaster of the day. David did a great job. Is he still on? Yes. Did a great job with table topics. Those were very good topics for summer and for habits and just in general, open-ended as well. I'm going to cut my evaluation a little bit on the short side. I think we are so flexible in this club to be able to take on roles at the last minute. And I want to, first of all, thank Ray. Ray took responsibility. He took ownership of today's meeting to make sure that we had all of our speakers out of the agenda set up. He went after, shoot after all of you to do something, get it done. And always in a Ray Sweeney way. So that I really commend you, Ray, and I'm glad you were here today to be our Toastmaster. We also had great evaluations and we're getting better at them. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm so proud to be part of this club and be able to talk about it to other clubs about how we do evaluations. And they're all going, ooh, I love this. I wish we would do it like this. So I think that's going to be a focus for a while. In general, people want honesty, said gracefully, but said to help. It's really important that we have this close-knit group to be able to trust, to give a speech, give the feedback before we go and do something silly like fall, as Michael's new bride did, when we get in front of the people that matter. So at this time, I'm going to fill up the roles for next meeting, which will be 2 weeks from today on the 15th. And, Ray picked a great theme, summer, for this. Who would like to be the Toastmaster of the day and maybe take on a school type, getting ready, preparedness, some type of topic about that? Or it's up to you. Anyone like to be the Toastmaster of the day? Everybody promises to be better with getting in their intros, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lynn's raising her hand for.
Lynn?
Yeah.
Or Mary?
Mary, yes, I am not raising my hand to be Toastmaster. However, I would like to give a brief grammarian counter report before we end, although I was a little late because of technology, just to for the benefit especially of our guests, I'd like to give a report to let them know what the role of a grammarian counter consists of.
Well, first of all, before you do that, Lynn, how did we do with our word of the day?
Yes.
In the beginning, you all did very well, and then it sort of drifted off because I think nobody was focused on it. I think what happened is that like Ray started, and he used reflection or reflective many times. Patrick talked about going to the beach, and Venice talked about corn kernels, with with her family. And then and Ray had about 5 times and John had 1. But what happened is the rest of the meeting, I think that everybody was so excited with what the talks were and what the responses were that nobody was thinking of using the word reflective. But if I were to summarize it, you were all reflective about your lives and filling in and using stories that were a reflection of both who you were and the kind of lives that you lived. So I thought it was an amazing meeting. And whether you used the word or not, reflection was the key to what you were all doing.
Excellent. Okay. Mary, did you want to give a?
Oh, yes.
We have,
As your grammarian, I listened intensely for good uses of the English language and also uses that were not so good. And I thought overall that everyone did a very good job with our English language. And some of the things that I heard that I caught today, as far as listening intensely, I would like to ask, who said one of the qualities I admire in an individual is integrity?
Lynn.
Lynn.
Yes. And who said I rode a bike and paid the price?
Mary.
Marilyn. No, Marjorie. Marjorie. And one more. We decided what we needed to do is to jump into the lake. Never ask me to jump in the finished lake again.
David.
David.
And
Can't forget that.
yeah. And that concludes my report as far as the grammarian. And I really anticipate and look forward to our guests returning and being a part of our meeting. Thank you.
thank you, Mary. Okay, let's go ahead and fill the roles, shall we? Does anybody given a thought to being Toastmaster of the day?
I'll be Toastmaster if we can hear just one last word from the existing Toastmaster for the meeting. I think Ray had a
Thank you so much. Yes, guys, I'd just like to summarize what a fantastic summer meeting we've had. And you know how I can gauge that? It's because everybody's sitting and leaning forward and listening, and their ears pinned back because you don't want to miss a thing, right? We've had so much fun here tonight. And in the spirit of Toastmasters, what I try to do is make sure that everybody got the opportunity to speak that was on the screen. And I pass that baton on to the next person, whoever it is. Always monitor the screen and make sure that everybody is included. Because if you've ever walked away from a meeting and you haven't spoke, it's a missed opportunity.
Right.
Guys, what a fantastic time it was this evening being your Toastmaster. Thank you for allowing me, and I will hand it back in conclusion to Sandra.
All right, let's fill a few more roles and then we'll call it a day adjourned, and then we can go outside and enjoy our summer. Now darn, I thought we were going to end on time, but we're running a little bit over. But I still would like to talk to Marilyn and Lynn. I feel like you're already part of this group. We just need to make it official.
Okay, I'm happy.
All right, I'll talk to you offline about that. Marilyn, thank you so much for coming today. I know a lot of Toastmaster clubs ask at the end of the meeting for their guest's impression. I would rather say, what did you learn today?
I learned that there's a lot more to speaking and listening than I thought. I'm very impressed with your abilities, and I didn't realize, that feedback and evaluation could go on in such detail. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you could send your email to me, and I will keep in contact with you and make sure you're aware of the future meetings and topics and answer any questions you have.
Okay.
Right. Anyone have anything else? Should we go to the beach?
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Well, thank you all for a great meeting, and enjoy the rest of your day and summer, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.